Hello, horse lovers. The winter holidays are here, and a great way to celebrate the winter holidays is, to read a good book that takes place during those times. Now, for us horse lovers, there's quite a few options out there. And I recently came across a good one recommended to me on Kindle. And um, I can't show you a picture of the cover, unfortunately, because of an incident involving my printer. But I will include a link in the video description. It is called One Frosty Christmas by Laura Hesse. It's for younger readers, but it's written in a mature way. And I really enjoyed the writing style and the story. The heroine of the story is a young girl named Hannah. Hannah has been through a lot lately. She was in a car accident that involved her leg getting crushed so badly it had to be amputated, and worst of all, her grandmother was killed in that same car accident. After this, her parents moved to a new place in the country. Now, except for the well, even including the accident part, this sounds like the start of a Hallmark movie, and it easily could be. But the writing style uplifts it from that. She Hannah isn't, your typical moody girl who, you see that in a lot of movies that have this kind of story where she's moody and she gets into trouble and she lashes out at everybody. That isn't who Hannah is, but she does get picked on a lot for not belonging in the country because they moved from a big city. And also, one particularly mean girl makes fun of her for being an amputee. The one joy in Hannah's life is she sees this pony out in the field on the way to school every day. This pony looks terrible. He's been starved, his ears have been frostbitten so badly that they're actually half broken off. In fact, this pony's name is Frostbite, which is kind of fitting seeing as he's a white pony. In her head, she renames him Mr. Frost as his show name and Frosty for his pet name, and she has plans to ride him and make him her own because she's heard that his owner, Old Man Levi, is a terrible monster of a person. Frosty once belonged to his granddaughter, and she was horrible to him, making him mean tempered. He was even worse to this poor pony, and he's always talking about sending Frosty off to the slaughterhouse. He just hasn't actually done it yet. So Hannah makes a plan to befriend Frosty and get him away from there. I have a little trouble with this plan because, she's old enough in the story to know there's better ways to handle this situation. But I give her credit for her determination. She starts to walk to Frosty's field early every morning before school, and I'm talking super early because she has to get back in time to catch the school bus before anybody knows she's gone. And she starts to bring him treats and that, and at first he wants nothing to do with her. And at one point, she actually hopes that he won't start to make friends with her that day because she's like, I give up. I've had it. Like, I am throwing in the towel if he doesn't come see me today, come walk over to the fence to get his treat. I'm not coming again. And she actually wishes for that so she'll have an excuse to not get up early anymore. And I can relate to how she's feeling because I almost gave up on my own horse, Bucky. Because he'd come from an abusive situation and he was never mean, he was always affectionate. But he was always so spooky at first that I thought I can't handle him anymore. Especially after one really bad spook, I nearly just handed his reins over to someone else and said, he's all yours. And, I'm just so thankful every day now that I didn't. And Hannah's thankful too because that day that she almost gave up is the day when Frosty finally comes over and takes the treat from her hand. And after that, she starts to really, get even more emotionally invested in him. She can't come when it snows because her feet would leave tracks, and she's scared of old man Levi, with reason. Now, I'll talk a little bit more on that later. But she also gets her one friend in the school, Johnny, to help out. On the days when she can't go, she calls him up and she's like, could you please help take care of this pony? And it turns out that her secret walks to go see him haven't been so secret. Johnny's noticed her walking past his place to go to Frosty, and a couple of the other kids have noticed, and they applaud what she's doing. They're like, this is great that you're helping this poor pony out. So he starts to feed him on the days when she can't, and even help shovel out the snow so that he's not going to be without shelter, that he has a little place to get into where he'll be okay. And Johnny, who is her best friend and possible future love interest, they're just kids, so who knows, but he's one of my favorite characters. He's Native American, and the book actually treats Native American culture really respectfully. They have him and his dad follow Native American customs the way, in a really accurate way. At one point, they go to their sweat lodge and they try to decide what to do to help this pony. And the answer that they receive is to go to one particular police officer. And he tells Hannah this. He knows she's trying to steal him, and he's like, stealing is not the way to handle this. But she doesn't trust that the police will do any good. So the day comes when they actually decide to follow through on their plans to steal Frosty. And they get shut up by that girl who made fun of Hannah. She tipped off old man Levi. Now, the book is described as being a cross between Black Beauty and A Christmas Carol. I don't see either one of those stories in this book. Black Beauty follows one horse throughout his whole life, and it's basically a lesson in how to care for a horse and what not to do from the different owners that Beauty has. We see how their treatment affects him through his own eyes. This story isn't like that, and it's also not like A Christmas Carol because Old Man Levi is not redeemed. And spoiler alert, he actually does shoot, not fatally, but he does shoot Hannah where she's injured. And Frosty actually rears up to protect her. Well, she ends up in the hospital, and by the time that, she's able to tell her, please save the pony, Mr. Levi has taken Mr. Frosty away to be slaughtered. Now, of course, we know it's not going to end this way. This kind of story, it's easy enough to predict the ending. It's Christmas Eve, and nobody's going to actually do any slaughtering on Christmas Eve. The whole town gets involved trying to find just where exactly this place is that Levi took this pony. And it's actually the one police officer that Johnny said to go to who is the one to find him and reunite him with Hannah. And it is it's predictable, but it's still a really heartwarming story, and Hannah is more of an original character in the challenges that she has to face. I really like this story, and it's the first one in the holiday series. The next one is a Halloween story, which I will be reviewing next Halloween, so I hope you'll be checking out that video. For those of you who are following this channel, I may have to switch channels and re-upload all my videos there because YouTube is not letting me switch accounts on my new laptop, and my old laptop, which is set to my horse channel, is running really slowly. So if that happens, I hope that you will find me there through my alternate channel, Remember the Magic. I will be uploading a Christmas video for that hopefully soon, technology depending. I really hope you'll check out One Frosty Christmas by Laura Hesse. I think you'll enjoy it. It's a short story, but it's a really good Christmas story. And until next time, keep writing.